snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin. I'm here with Jokes. That's right. Jokes is here.
Yeah, in the building.
In the building.
At the beginning.
That's right.
One time.
That's right. Not by my
Not by myself.
with the group. You're now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, Jokes, we got to talk about the new Switch review, because that happened after our show last week, so we didn't get to discuss that, put that in front of people. Today, Sin, we get to talk about the possibility of Master Chief Collection going to PlayStation 5, among other things. I will not read that out loud.
Anthony Cunningham says the 3 Live crew.
It's true though. It's true. That's right, G. All of us. All of the generally
right
on camera personalities. Can't forget K, who I want to say has done. If you haven't had a chance, like if you haven't been on our Instagram and haven't had a chance to check out, K did something very special this year, which is that he went to CES and shot a bunch of stuff and is putting a bunch of stuff together and is getting that up and on our channel for us. And like, if you know, we talk a lot about video games here, and E3 has always been like the benchmark. When we started doing Loading Snacks, it was like at some point we going to E3. Like that was like the big goal. That was the whole. And you know, CES is literally the E3 for electronics and gadgets and so forth. As a matter of fact, it's literally where E3 started. E3 broke off of CES. So Cuddy, you're right. Cuddy said K did his thing at CES. You're right. Yeah, Rich, it was pretty dope that he was there. And you know, that's also a dream come true for him. You know, we got that background in tech and just love of all that kind of stuff. And so the opportunity presented himself, and he got the opportunity to go down, and he just shot all kinds of stuff. And so, like, just keep watching, because over time you're going to continue to see more and more of that coverage come out. It's very difficult to do all that stuff when you're basically there by yourself and you're trying to set up and shoot shots for yourself. And you know, Cuddy said don't sleep on the tech content that K does. You're absolutely right. K knows his stuff. If there is a thing that he's a geek about, it's tech and music. Like those are the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, G Rich said making dreams come true. I love it. That's a real thing. And so, you know, they say speak it into existence, right? And so the plan is for all of us to go next year, and we'll see how that affects doing live shows like this. But whatever,
we'll make it work somehow.
We'll make it work, because that's what we do. So yeah, so like shout out to K, because it's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work, a lot of editing, a lot of figuring things out. You know, he generally tends to be mostly behind the camera, with the exception of like Tech Bite stuff that he shoots. Even the stuff that he does for Beats and Beatdowns, he's not on camera, so to speak. There's definitely a learning curve to being on the other side of the camera and presenting and talking to people and asking questions and interviewing. Like all of that stuff is stuff that like you learn over time, but you certainly learn it as you do it. And so it's a lot. Like it's a lot to do. I'm just really proud of him for achieving that, and then for like putting himself out there and, you know, recording things and shooting things, and you know, he's basically doing it all by himself, you know what I mean, if you will. So, you know, keep your eyes out for that. It's a really big deal. We'd love if you guys, just when you see that content go up, like it, share it, you know, that kind of stuff. Help just kind of propagate it, you know, even further out into the tech communities and so forth. And like, to be honest with you, we don't even know all of what he saw and what he's had a chance to do. We just know that there's a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet that he hasn't had a chance to kind of finish up and get in front of us. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled for that. Because it's a big deal, and it's really cool to have a chance to do that. So Rich said behind the scenes support is so crucial. 100%. It's one of the things that we have to discuss and remind ourselves. What up, K Dizzle? Bird Gang. You know what I'm saying, K Dizzle? Bird Gang. Now that that's out the way, it's one of the things that we have to constantly remind ourselves that, like, what we do, what we attempt to bring to the table and bring to you all is being done by a 4-person team for the most part. We are fortunate that we have people that jump in and help us do other things, our different chats and so forth. That's right. Fly Eagles fly, baby. And I appreciate you, K Dizzle. And it's tough, right? We're fortunate that we have people who can jump in and help us do stuff. So, folks like Gabby and Noah do anime chat. Folks like Marcus and like that jump in and do wrestling chat, that show up and do panels with us. Like, we've been able to build a really strong community that includes all of you that are here, that are watching right now.
100%.
You know what I mean? Cuddy will sometimes jump in and just sometimes it ain't even about making content. Sometimes it's about just getting in and shooting some stuff or whatever.
True.
Also, we need to talk about stuff, and sometimes everybody who's here on screen not everybody shows up when it's time for us to play something. We need to be able to talk about something that's maybe co-op or something like that.
That is a thing.
So,
that is a thing. Yeah.
We had to ask my young.
So we got to deal with.
That's part of it. It is what it is, man. So yeah, it's definitely really cool to have that support. It means more than we really are usually able, I think, to convey. Because a lot of what we're doing right now, we wouldn't be able to pull off if it wasn't for that. And a lot of that is them just showing up and watching stuff with us and talking about it with us. It isn't necessarily what up, Kai? The editing and the shooting and the planning and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Jokes.
Yo.
We missed you last week. You are, I haven't seen you in, I don't know, like I see you at the meetings or whatever, but you're much more bearded than I recall. you want to talk to me? Everything going on, bro?
Eventually it starts to work, because remember,
there was a little Kofi going on.
There was some struggle. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still some struggle, but there was some struggle ages ago. But
yeah,
working a little bit now.
I'm just saying, like, J. Robert Deans might have to like retire that little jokes joint.
Puberty jokes.
Walking around like that. I'm just saying. That looks good on you, man. Yeah, we missed you last week, so we didn't get to have some of the discussions that we would have had last week. And right now, we're not going to go back and have those. However,
there's more to talk about.
There is more to talk about, and we're going to start doing that right now. So let's just take a look here at what these boys decided to show us. Now, I want to say, as we watch this Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, I don't know if everybody who's watching got a chance to see it or checked it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we definitely did.
You did, Sin?
Yep. Yeah. As soon as Joe sent it to the chat, I was like, okay, let me check this out.
Yeah. We'll upgrade. snap is a little healthier now, bro.
It was.
Some echo and some reverb in it.
Yeah.
But it ain't the same.
Yeah.
It don't sound like a
Had
snap
a
anymore.
little sauce on it.
Mm. Hmm. All right. Now look, we're gonna hold tight right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave this screen up while we discuss. It doesn't need to be that big. Jokes, your initial thoughts.
Like we knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time for them to finally just drop this on us for it. But I thought this was a good thing to just put out there that we'll play majority of OG Nintendo Switch games. Obviously, it does say with the caveat that some may not be supported or fully compatible on the Switch 2 for it, but at least that gives you that good sense of feeling that I would think any of those major titles would be able to be played on the Switch 2. So I think that's a good piece for it. Obviously, we don't get too much info here. We know we're gonna get the real dig deep into it in April for it, but right now I'm okay. Like we know what a Switch is. Like I just need to know some of those differences under the hood and what it's going to do for us. But other than that,
You know, I want to say, I think we actually did get a lot of information here. I mean, obviously, there's a difference in size. Like you could look at them right now side by side. I think that there is an obvious need on their end to compete with what the Steam Deck is and what the ROG Ally, like going with kind of like the all black aesthetic, like actually growing up what the Switch is. It's interesting to me because if you go back to the original teaser trailer they did for the Switch the first time, it is all adults having rooftop parties and playing together, you know, and it was like, who is this for? Like, why is it that everyone in these commercials and the advertisements for the Switch, why are they all adults? This to me says, yeah, nah, for real though this time. Like, you know, that was almost 8 years ago. Right? So
GTA 6?
Rich said it needs to be able to handle GTA 6 and Diablo. They're good. You know, Diablo, I think it will.
Yeah.
GTA is another beast. But I don't think we know enough about GTA 6 and what that's going to be doing to be able to really know for sure. What I do think on that note, G, is that there is a high possibility we see GTA Online or GTA 5 make it to this. Most likely online in some way. But again, that's the thing that's probably the biggest thing for me is like what that is going to look like. What up, KB? Weekend warrior out there working. So like, again, just looking at this alone, right? The presentation they did as they kind of showed the evolution from the original Switch to this Switch, the all black, the black Joy-Cons, you know, kind of to me, making an attempt to signify that this should be or will feel a little less Fisher Price and a little less for kids. It also says to me that in some way, they don't have any intentions of going away from the original Switch. I think the original Switch is going to get some version of an upgrade, but they are really kind of saying, let your kids play Switch. You get a Switch too. You know, like that's kind of what this says to me. And by going to the backwards compatibility, that route, that kind of speaks to that. If you look at what it says here, again, what you brought up, Jokes, the certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible. Well, that makes sense, right? Because I just don't see Labo working with this because you know what I mean? Like the size of things that go with it are different. Not that anybody's playing Labo anymore, but they did the whole like Switch VR thing, that would be a problem. The adventure thing they had, that was like the workout game that everybody was doing in 2020, like those Joy-Cons have to fit into that that you have to use. So like, yeah, that's probably not, gonna work. So does it mean they couldn't just release a different peripheral that these Joy-Con can go into? Probably pretty easy to do. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Kind of agree with Jokes. I think this was the most important thing right here, letting people know that, pretty much their Switch games are going to work for the Switch too.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I was just whelmed looking at it. Like, okay, like it's bigger. It's black now. Like the accent of the two colors. Like, okay, like cool. I wasn't like overly impressed by anything. It's kind of what I expected out of a Switch 2, like to be bigger, better screen, better battery, all that kind of stuff, even though they didn't get into none of that stuff. So pretty much by the time this is over, I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll wait till y'all give me the real announcement that I can know what inside and what can it do that separates it from the Switch. It's Nintendo. I'm not expecting a Stream Deck by any way, shape, or form, but I still want to know what can this one do more than the last one. So looks-wise, yes, I agree. It looks like more adult version of it, but okay, cool. We got what it looks like. Great. I'm going to buy it regardless when it comes out. I just need to know what's under the hood at the end of the day and what can it do that the last one could.
I actually find that extremely interesting. I mean, I hear you. I'm going to buy it when it comes out. I think that there are a lot of people who are in that exact same space. What's the price point?
$399.
What's Switch right now?
What would be a price point that you'd be like, oh, never mind, I'm not doing that?
What's Switch right now?
400, I think, 350.
I think this is gonna be $399. Like,
I think as a matter of fact, I think $399 is what it is for the current OLED version of the Switch.
I thought that actually came out $349. Hold on, let's take a look.
And it does make me wonder whether or not, again, like, is there a price point where they'd be like, yeah, and you'd be like, nah, I'm good because I already have a Switch and it works, and I didn't even upgrade to the OLED or whatever, right?
Switch 2.
Yeah, OLED's $349.
OLED's $349.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say $349.
Oh,
okay.
Maybe the OLED comes down like $50, and this takes the $349 price tag.
Jokes, what do you think?
I'm thinking $399. Like, even I still think maybe the OG Switch 1 still will take maybe a little bit of a price cut on it. I think $399. If we get, like, obviously, I'm not expecting the display itself to be 4K. Like, I'm pretty sure it'll output 1080. There's a chance maybe it'll output 4K if you hook it up to a TV. But possibly with performance enhancement things, I think $399 is probably a safe bet to go with. And then obviously maybe there'll be like one special edition version that maybe comes with, say, like a Mario title probably would be like one of the release ones. Maybe they'll package that or something like that. But other than that, I think $399 is where we're
without knowing what's under the hood of it and what it can actually do. That $399 is a little shaky for me right now until we get some more information about it, depending on what it's capable of and also what drops release that will ultimately probably determine whether I get it at that price tag or not. Or do I just wait till something else, wait till it drops, which not looking at that, but something else comes down the line that I'm really looking forward to playing and then finally picking it up.
We saw a brand new Mario Kart. That doesn't make you be like, oh, I got to. Or does it matter because you figure, well, that, like, again, there's a lot of questions, and we know that they're going to do a full, like, reveal on April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why I don't like that. But they're going to do a full reveal on April 2nd. And I'm sure we'll get the majority of the details that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. Questions of whether or not games that come out for Switch 2, will they also work on the original Switch?
That's the point. Yeah.
It doesn't just mean that there's a functionality that they won't have. And when I say that, I mean, if you look right here, what you're seeing, and one of the rumors that came out before this happened was that you'll be able to use the Joy-Cons like a mouse. Mm-hmm. For like mouse and keyboard. So
we did see it drive. We did see it moving around, like kind of driving around on the table.
Nintendo is very meticulous with the way that they present that stuff on screen. So I think that does mean exactly probably that it's going to be like some type of malfunction.
Yeah. That Mario in the trailer is a new Mario. It's a new Mario Kart. It looks like whatever the next Mario Kart is going to be. Is what that is. It is not something that is in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We haven't had a technically a new Mario Kart since
Mario Kart 8.
Since Wii U. So again, just in terms of looking at it, looking at form factor, again, it looks a lot more like a Steam Deck.
It does.
Right? There are some additional buttons and triggers that are there now that weren't there before. Has a magnetic, attachment clearly. So again, like they put some time and some effort into doing this. I think you might be right, Joe. I'm gonna be honest. I think 400 is probably where we're looking, possibly higher than that for this. And I'm saying that strictly from it will not be able to compete with what current gen consoles really do. That's just where I'm at with what current gen consoles can do.
Yeah, no.
Which means that in a year and a half, this will again be very, very weak by comparison for all intents and purposes. And in the meantime, you have Lenovo absolutely. And all those. Perp says it's going to sell like crazy. Yeah. You're right. It's sold out. Like I
said, like I said, I'm no buying it. Like, so they already got my money.
Yeah, people are going to buy it. People are going to upgrade to it. People are going to give their old one to the kids or let them do, you know what I'm saying, whatever with it. People will trade in old ones to get the new one. Like all of that stuff is going to happen. But for all intents and purposes, this is a Switch Pro. Nintendo does not often, in terms of their home consoles, Nintendo never does a 2. They've never done a 2.
Never done a 2.
They have done updates and upgrades. You've gotten that to me tells me that their mindset in this is less console and is more portable. It's more Game Boy. It's more SP. It's advanced. It's it's that realm of DS, DS Lite, 3DS. You know what I mean? Like that line of like, yeah, the games still work. Your old games still work. Most of them. You know what I mean? Backwards compatibility has kind of always been a thing for Nintendo outside of when they did the original, outside of cartridges. Like once they kind of got past that, they basically have stayed with some level of backwards compatibility. I also think it is very important as it's very telling when we talk about the state of the video game industry and how people have built up digital libraries and so forth. If Nintendo was to come out right now and say, this does not play your old Switch 2 games, whether they're digital or not, people are having a fit. And I don't think people are buying this at all. I'll keep it a buck. I think people are like, all right, well, cool, I'm out. Right? Because I don't think that the appeal that Nintendo has had for so long would beat that, so to speak. I think people would just be like, oh, I spent way too much money on the old joint. I'm not letting that happen. Realistically, jokes, how long do you think it will be before we really start to see games that only work on Switch 2 and are no longer Switch 1 compatible?
Maybe after year 2. Like I feel like definitely out the break, especially getting people over to it, being able to use their old games, because by then some of these titles are going to have those next generation versions that you wouldn't necessarily need to go back to. Don't get me wrong, out of nostalgia and fun purposes for some of them, but when you have like a Zelda title that you're going to end up having a newer version of, you're going to have some new Mario that is just going to be specifically for this. Pokemon is going to come out. It's going to be exclusively specialized for this. I think 2 years will probably be where we're looking at, or at least until they shift to say that maybe, even though it's technically still the cartridge, the original Switch, you'll only be able to like digitally download certain ones to the console. And then if you want to be able to use physical cartridges, you have to get a Switch 2 with the newer ones on there. But I think at least year 2 is where, if anything, we will start to see a a phasing, if anything.
Sam, what kind of changes do we see to Nintendo online?
Hope everything, because it's trash right now. I'm hoping for a lot, like better connectivity, easier access to get in and out of games, stuff like that. Like overall of how it looks. Like I just think it needs a makeover, and it needs its online issues just to be fine-tuned and polished. Because this is a game that can, not a game, but a system that can strive well with a strong online connection. I mean, Mario Kart, like we said, 8 came out years ago. It's still running great. Same thing with Smash Brothers. Like they have multiplayer stuff on there that has built-in fan bases, like for years, like since we've been kids and stuff like that, and just grow up with those type of games. That'll eat them up online. It just needs a stronger. They just need to work on their online presence and just be stronger at it. You know, not make it so difficult to get out of games, stuff like that. I think that's one of the biggest things they need to focus on. If they can get that tied down right, yeah, they could they could put a damage in some multiplayer stuff online. I think so.
Is there a change to what's available in Nintendo Switch Online in terms of like right now you can play Genesis titles, there's NES titles, SNES? Like, are we going to get GameCube titles? Is there, you know what I mean? Like what?
If they can put out the power,
because clearly it's going to be more expensive. Like, there's no way they don't push up the price of what Nintendo Switch Online costs.
Mm-hmm.
What are we getting for that?
I think all the same stuff will be there, but hopefully they're adding GameCube games and all that kind of stuff too. I believe it'd be a missed opportunity if they don't. But yeah, I can see that coming, absolutely. Keep what they got in there and just, add in the new stuff and make sure everything else is just running solid. Yeah.
Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a USB-C port on top of the screen. What do you think that's for? Clearly, there's one on the bottom.
Obviously for docking purposes and all that. Obviously, I mean, it doesn't make. I guess if you want to be, maybe it'll allow you to hook like a USB-C drive up to it. Like I kind of hope they don't get away from using micro SD as far as things on there, and because like to me, being able to go from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, if you are going to be able to bring that digital library and those saves and things over that you have on that card, granted, there's ways that you can move from one type of card to the other, but I imagine they'll still have micro SD. But the USB on C on top, definitely, if you have it docked, it's going to charge and do everything. To me, that's like an external type of media device that you'll be able to hook into it. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like, you know, with some games, like they used to do
top? Like, why wouldn't you just use the one that's on the bottom?
On the bottom, like I was thinking of, or like, you know what, we were just talking about keyboard and mouse. Technically, I'm sure the dock that it will go in will have an extra port that's in there. But maybe if you are out and about, obviously you'll be able to use the Joy-Cons as the mouse. But if you don't have a wireless keyboard, you'll probably be able to hook one directly into it. I don't know. To me, it's weird having two, unless you want to have those extra peripherals, those extra accessories to be able to hook up top. So maybe there's going to be some games that are going to have some sort of other interface to be able to use with it.
I'm going to tell you right now, if that USB-C port on the top of the Switch 2 does not output to HDMI so that you can use this joint on another screen without the dock, it's going to be a problem. It's somebody's going to hack it and make it work that way. Like there's no doubt in my mind, right? And the idea of the possibility of like daisy chaining and maybe a couple of systems together via USB to USB.
Oh, like old school, like I guess if you're not in wireless, you want to be like old Game Boy days and being able to hook up. That actually, hey, listen, for a nostalgia piece and being able to sit and do that, that would be kind of cool. But at the same time, if I'm in some place that has a decent enough network, why would I do that when I could just wirelessly hook up? But
I mean, I you know, look, the because it's Nintendo, dog. Because it's Nintendo, and because Nintendo is so like, we must save your children and don't let them be on like random public Wi-Fi or whatever. Just actually connect. You know, like who knows, bro? Because Nintendo be
Yep.
Nintendo.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
Even though, you know, again, just looking, I also think that like, you know, kids who are 4 have iPads, cell phones, like they are used to things that do what this kind of stuff does, that look like what adults walk around with and carry and so forth. So I do also think that the appeal of making this look more adult friendly is also something that appeals to a younger audience. That, like, you know, if you've been playing Fortnite on Switch for the last 8 years, if you were, you know, 8, now you're 16.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily want to walk around with that Switch, with those Joy-Cons, with, you know, like, you just have to kind of think about those kinds of things, right? That you're attempting to keep an audience now in a way that's different from the way you have had to do it before, but you're also maintaining a product, if they continue to manufacture original Switches, that like that's for them. Like, let them have that, and you can have them for kind of grown up. It's gonna be really interesting to see. Again, my concern with them doing the actual reveal on April 2nd is that everything that we hear rumor wise, blah blah blah, up to that point is all gonna be April Fool's jokes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's gonna be terrible.
Oh yeah. Can't trust nothing until April 2nd when you get it from Nintendo's YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I don't care what you hear though.
Yep. In one ear out the other. Don't even entertain it right now.
That's too much of a rumor. Yeah, we can wait till the 2nd.
Yep.
Don't even pretend to believe that.
Yourself.
You know, here's the thing. I would like to be excited. I think going Switch 2 is an interesting move, and it is exciting to me from an industry standpoint. I don't really care about the Switch, so I also don't really care about the Switch 2. I do think that we are certainly going to see some more adult product released from third party to this system and its ability to handle things better. Like, they made some very serious jokes about the Switch and what it can do with like the last 2 Mortal Kombat games being released there, and just like how terrible they looked and how terrible they played. And, you know, so they kind of have to do some things to come up, you know, with that. So it'll be interesting to see what's really built into it and what kind of power it has. I think at a minimum, we're looking at 4K, but what does that really mean? Are you getting 4K on that tiny screen? Because does that really matter? What is the difference between playing it in handheld mode and walking around versus when you have it docked and running it on a TV, which almost nobody did at all with the original Switch? You know, like 95% of people basically never hooked it up to the dock, right? And just played it in portable mode. Now there is a lot more competition in that space. However, the competition that's in that space is much more expensive. What I'm not sure of is whether or not, even at a decent price point, Nintendo's IPs are still strong enough to keep them afloat in a world where PC gaming is on an incline and every other version of gaming is on a decline. Console gaming is just off a cliff because you have these young people who are now like, I want a full rig. They're watching people stream and they're watching them stream to PCs. They are able to have PCs that can travel. And when you have access to everything, not just what Nintendo wants you to have, that's the direction you're going, even if it costs you a bit more. Even if it's more expensive, to have something that has Steam OS on it and or even has Windows OS on it, the ability to basically play any game you want, including all Xbox exclusives, quote unquote exclusives, and the PlayStation exclusives that are coming now. Nintendo's got an uphill battle that I just don't think they've ever had before.
Mm-hmm.
As strong as their IPs are, we're not going to pretend like they are crushing it in like the mobile space.
Right.
And it doesn't help the fact that they're so strict about you streaming their stuff online. As like a streamer or something like that. If you want to stream Mario Kart, they will strike you, like all that type of stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a and so that is, in my opinion, taking a lot of the young gamers, those who are playing Fortnite and Roblox or whatever, who really don't care if the joint is the prettiest thing ever, because they are playing Roblox, which looks like blocks. Like, it looks like trash. So they just don't care about that stuff. And so because they don't care, but they want everything, and they're used to having it all at their fingertips, to hand them something like that, then tell them, well, it plays these games, but it can't play this, and this, is almost no longer understandable at all anymore. It just, I don't know how you, right now, what I think they're dealing with the Switch 2 is exactly the same thing I feel like they were dealing with the Wii U. In like, let's put out something that has a tablet because everybody's getting these tablets and so forth. Cuddy says, the team I will play Division 2 with all switched over to PC. We all know about Game Pass, and that I think helped move more people to PC. I mean, I agree. But again, also, you're seeing that decline in console sales. Like, it's plateaued. Console sales have plateaued, but game sales have dropped off, where PC sales have gone up. Games tend to be less expensive on PC, and you have more access. It's more of a hassle, but that hassle is becoming less of a hassle, right? Like, understanding drivers and doing updates and stuff like that are the kinds of things that people are so used to because their phones need an update. My glasses did an update the other day. Like, it's, you know, like, real talk. My phone, my watch just did an update. Like, we're talking about a world where people are so used to those kinds of things. We're like, yep, it needs a new driver. It doesn't work because I didn't do an update, whatever. It's becoming so normal and so ubiquitous that the idea that gaming on a PC is so much more difficult than just having a console and I just play isn't as sweet of a deal anymore by comparison, even for the price point. And so when you can get the graphics you're looking for at the speed you're looking for with the library you're looking for, it tends to make it all feel like it's worth it. And that, again, to me, puts Nintendo in an awkward place where they are like, even like Xbox and PlayStation are going like, Nintendo's doing their thing. We not really, because they do them. And it's cool that they bring in a younger audience, and then that younger audience comes to us.
Right.
But what's happening now is that younger audience is coming into Nintendo and then moving into PC. They're not coming into Nintendo and moving to PlayStation, or coming into Nintendo and moving to Xbox. They're moving into PC. And more importantly, they're moving into their libraries because they're starting at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, having a library, having games that they have downloaded, that they have, access to, that are theirs, and they expect to be able to carry with them in some form continuously going forward. So the backwards compatibility thing, absolutely necessary. The playing them digital or on cartridge, absolutely necessary. However, it doesn't mean that it's going to be enough. And I think the price point is going to be the biggest thing, because the gimmicks, they're like, oh, you can use this as a mouse. Hey, dog. So what?
I will literally play it on PC.
Mouse and keyboard on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I will.
You understand what I'm saying? And like, if you're doing something that allows you to use the Joy-Cons as a mouse, well, then that says to me, you're looking at bringing games over that have traditionally been PC games. There's a reason why you're going that route. You want people to be able to move cursors around because that's what kids are doing. That's what the younger audience you're trying to capture and keep is doing. So you're going that route. And again, that's very Wii U. We're putting out a second thing that has the same. The Wii U is literally the closest thing to a 2 they've ever had. They did the Wii and then they did the Wii. Very confusing for other people. So making it a 2, they very much could have called this the Switch U, bruh, and literally going down the same path.
I feel like they don't want no one to ever think about the Wii U against like someone probably threw that idea out there and it was like
no, this is gonna be clear and concise.
Out.
The Switch 2 is an upgrade to the Switch,
not Pro.
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Technically, no.
And again, I do think it matters whether or not they are looking at this kind of like an iterative. Like there's a part of me that feels like from now on, whatever we get from Nintendo will always be the Switch. Mm-hmm. It'll be the Switch 3. It'll be the Switch 4. It'll just be iterative upgrades. It'll be the Switch 2 OLED, and then we'll get the Switch 3. And then I'll do the Switch 3 OLED or whatever. The OLEDs will become ubiquitous, and it'll be the Switch 3.
Like the Xbox and the PlayStation, this is their thing from now on. The Switch thing, just going forward.
Like, getting rid of like the Nintendo DS, and they still want to have that handheld. There's no point in going away from this. Dock it, and if they can get this one, if this don't outputs 4K, super cool. But if we have to wait until we get to the next one that's going to have like that 4K, like that would be the only extra caveat.
Yeah,
bro, if this one doesn't output 4K, it's a wrap.
It's a fail at this point. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's dead. It's dead in the water. It's dead in the water. It has to output 4K or it's a wrap. Like period. I do want to kind of get into some of the support that we think they'll have, but on that note, you know, the rumors are even more alive now that like Master Chief Collection and Gears are coming to PS5 and Switch 2. And what's interesting about this right now, more than having heard it before, is that the same person, Nate the Hate, who revealed when the Switch 2 reveal was going to be last week on Thursday. He was the person that came out and was like, they doing a new Switch reveal on Thursday. He's the same person who is the one now who's saying like, yeah, no, Master Chief Collection is coming to PS5. So is Gears. Like it's just, and Final Fantasy Remake is coming to Xbox this year. It's a little late, right, Sam?
Very late. I've already got them on the PlayStation now. Like it's
but there's people who don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah,
there are people who don't.
Everybody else perfectly fine.
Yeah. I'm just saying. You know, look. When you start thinking about a Switch and doing a Switch 2, if they come out in April and they're like, "Yeah, Master Chief Collection is coming to Switch 2. Gears of War is coming to Switch 2. The new Doom is coming to Switch 2." Right? Because Microsoft is going to get behind them. They want to put their games on everything, right? So Diablo is coming to Switch. Like those deals, I'm positive are already being done and are in the bank and are happening. I'm positive that we're going to hear more and more about that. I don't think we get the same thing that we have normally gotten, where like a company like Square is going like, oh yeah, we're doing this Switch exclusive game, because they've already said themselves like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We just can't. We're not seeing the numbers we need to see by releasing exclusively.
Right.
It doesn't do us any good. We got to be on multiple platforms. That's going to include PC, right? But like, we need to be everywhere. And so if there are currently complaints about the possibility of things not coming to Xbox because people have to develop for the Series S, the Switch 2 has to be more powerful than the Series S. It has to. Because if it's not,
we'll see on April 2nd.
Issues.
You see what I'm saying? Like, who's developing for it if that's not the case? It has to be. So that will be a thing that even Microsoft has to be like, oh yeah, I got a little power, we got to do something with it. But also, when you have Phil Spencer really saying like, nah, we're doing a handheld. It's a couple years out, but we're doing a handheld. That also tells me like you've seen the Switch prototypes and you have access to a dev kit. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're seeing, you know what I mean? Because, and with everything that's coming out and all the stuff that got announced at CES, all the different Lenovo and Asus and Steam has new ones, like all of that stuff coming. That handheld place is so competitive, and it's competing with phones, right? If you look at Apple and being able to play like Resident Evil in like full fidelity on your iPhone, on your iPad, like Switch got some work to do.
Yeah,
for real. Like, it ain't just, oh, we're gonna put this joint out, and because we're Nintendo, it's just gonna work. Because that's the Wii U again. So there has to be, you know what I mean, a little bit more going on with that. And I also think they really have to come with some serious, like, here's what's happening with our online. We hear you, we understand, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to fix that. Here's the stuff that you're gonna get. Do I think that there might be some version of a Game Pass Nintendo, like if you are paying this much, you are getting these titles? Yes. Do I think they're going to be old? Yes. I don't think they're going to be giving you like day and brand new.
Nintendo will give you Genesis titles.
That ain't
going to give you Super Nintendo titles.
Hey, listen, we're gonna give you this Genesis title 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like all the variations of it.
I legit think that I think that Nintendo is going to do a subscription service that allows you to get Nintendo exclusive titles. I think that you're looking at Mario's and Donkey Kong's and Pikmin's. I do. I think like Ubisoft had to do it. EA had to do it, like in some manner, right? PlayStation had to do it. Xbox did it. Steam is it. I don't know if you can compete if you're not doing something that gives you a platform where like all your stuff is available in some way. If it's not some sort of an all-in, all-access streaming service of some type. I don't know if that's gonna work. Clearly, it could work, but like, I don't know if that works anymore. I just don't. And I know it's Nintendo, and I know you guys know how hard-headed they are about like, we're just gonna keep selling these joints like this. But I'm gonna tell you what, it's going to stop working. It just is. There is a certain level of power that Nintendo holds that other IP holders like PlayStation, Nintendo don't have. What's up, Heather? In that they literally have amusement parks now with Universal, right? And there are movies they can put out that are appealing to young kids. That doesn't necessarily mean that young kids are going to want a Switch or a Switch 2, even if they are falling in love with Mario. Because as you get to a place where the kinds of things that you're able to put out with your IP aren't just video games, at some point as Nintendo, you have to get fine with people loving Mario, but only wanting the sheets and the book bag and the toys and the movie and the Legos, and never picking up a controller and playing on console. Like you have to get to that point. That's, I think, what one of the biggest things about video game IP has been, is that everything that has ever been done around video game IP until within like the last 4 or 5 years has always been done with the idea of bringing people back into buying a console and buying the games and becoming fans of the games, not becoming fans of the IP and falling in love with the characters. Nintendo, because of the kind of characters they have, are the only ones that really have Disney type power, where like Disney would love for you to have a Disney Plus subscription, but like if you're going to Disney World and you are buying Disney paraphernalia, t-shirts and hats and keychains and like they don't, like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the biggest Mickey Mouse fans don't like, there are Mickey Mouse video games. You know what I'm saying? But like the IP isn't based on that. A Lord of the Rings movie will sell Lord of the Rings books to people who never picked up that kind of a book before. But the people who absolutely are bat-ish crazy about Lord of the Rings but never read the books do exist. watch the movies and buy the paraphernalia and are in love with Legolas and put posters on their wall and like all of that. It exists. And so you're not trying to force your IP down the throat of people in the way you want them to experience the IP. You're trying to take the IP and put it everywhere and let people enjoy it the way they want to. So if you just want an air freshener, cool. Right? Like that makes sense to me. K Dizzle said for sure. So Nintendo does have that. Right? Like you have a theme park.
Yeah.
And there are kids who are going to go and are going to fall in love with it and whatever. And in the same way that like my kids don't know Ice Cube is a rapper. Like I still don't. He's an actor to them.
Oh my
to
God.
me,
That
he's
happened.
a rapper.
Oh my God, that
NWA.
happened. Hey, listen, that actually happened a few weeks ago at work, and someone in there was talking about. They were talking about Ice Cube, and then I bought Ice-T, and I brought up the fact I was like, "Yo, he was a rapper beforehand." He was like, "You talking about the dude from Law and Order was a rapper?" And I was just like,
Yes.
"Oh my God."
Pimp
But
it.
here's the thing, dog. Think about it this way. Yes, you get that, and you know that. Do you know that me and my mother had this discussion the other day? Ice-T has been on more episodes of Law and Order than any other actor. Period. Like 500 plus episodes. He is on the most TV, dog.
He is Law and Order.
Yep. Like, again, people who don't know, you know, they don't know. So, like, if they go to a theme park and that's how they experience Mario for the first time, if the first time they experienced Mario and Peach was in the movie, that's their version of Mario. When they get a game and it don't look like that or sound like that,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
They like, what is this? You
This is
see
wrong.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're in a very unique position.
Anything?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, again, we talk about this all the time, like amongst ourselves, but those people who don't know, again, that Spider-Man and Superman are in different universes.
Yeah.
Like, it seems really crazy to us, but it just, like, that's what it is. It's a real thing for a lot of people. Like, there are people who saw the Assassin's Creed movie and have no idea that they're games at all. People who like the movie.
That is.
Let me tell you something. My mother loved the Hitman movie. Watch that joint.
I remember you said.
She don't care nothing. Ain't never gonna pick up no controller. I honestly don't even know if she. I'm positive I told her like it's a video game, but like she don't know, right? Think about the millions of people who have no idea to this day. Walking Dead is a comic book.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Like, go somewhere and see a Walking Dead comic book. I'm like, dang, they turned this joint into a comic book. Like,
no.
Big this joint is.
Flip that.
Comic book. I turned it to a show.
That's where Nintendo is. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just in that space where it's like, you could really make Mario ubiquitous, but you might have to let him breathe. And if you really want your IP to
grow,
like do that thing, you might have to be willing to be Microsoft and be like, oh no, we're gonna put Master Chief on everything. Because for a long time, you couldn't get Word on no Mac.
Then they put it everywhere.
That's all I'm saying.
Put it everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like what I see happening right now with what Xbox is doing is like, let me tell y'all what we getting ready to do.
Put it everywhere.
You're not gonna be able to avoid us. No, I don't care what you say or what you do. We're going to be everywhere. We're gonna be everywhere. We're going to be ubiquitous. Period. Like Band-Aids. They're not called Band-Aid is a company.
That's the company. That like bandage? No, I need a band-aid.
Same thing with Kleenex.
I need a band-aid.
Kleenex. Same thing. You see what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. The way that Nintendo used to be, no matter what game system you was playing when you was growing up, they'd be like, oh, they back
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
No, it's not Nintendo. I'm playing. They don't care.
Nah. Got that name out there in front of everybody. Yeah.
And the more and more that things are available everywhere people go, and it's really just like tied to their name. I bought this game, no matter where I sign in, no matter what device I'm using, it's my game with my save coming from the cloud. That expectation is just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be really weird or really niche to have a thing that you can only play in one place.
Right.
What they do kind of have with that is the fact that you'll be able to take the Switch with you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
But if that means you're locked out of a bunch of other stuff you want to do or want to play,
it's gonna be a problem.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I hear them like, oh yeah, Master Chief coming to everything. All right.
Hey, it's their guy. Let's get him out there in front of as many people as we can.
Not just let it happen, make it happen.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
At this point, like
Make
it
it
is
happen.
happening.
Watch the haters disappear.
Oh,
People who never played it.
Yeah,
People
once
who
they
didn't.
once they get into it and everything, yeah, you're gonna see another resurgence online of the online community and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Xbox people go, oh, I get to play against PlayStation now and kill all them
Hey,
and shoot them up. Yeah,
hey,
all that
listen,
stuff's gonna be happening.
let those clans start. We got PlayStation clans, we got Xbox clans.
Bro.
Play it. Hey, listen, that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So on that note, in a couple of days, Microsoft is having a direct.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to show stuff we know about, like South of Midnight is supposed to get shown.
Mm-hmm.
Expedition 33 is supposed to get shown. Doom the Dark Ages,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to show. And there's supposed to be a mystery game. Do we have any thoughts on what we're going to see?
Better be Fable, but I doubt it.
No,
But I'm gonna go Fable.
because they didn't.
I think they've already talked about Fable, so they're saying this is an unannounced.
No,
unannounced.
It's from like a Japanese company.
They're
Or something like
specifically
that.
saying like they're saying a famous Japanese property, like
Persona 6.
yeah, which is
Ooh.
possible.
Oh,
I've heard people say they think that could be it. But you think so, Jokes?
Persona
It ain't gonna be
6,
a
like, it's about time because we haven't had any word, any announcement, and I think
Nope.
being
We've
able to
done
partner with
5. We've done 5 Royal. We've done
And with-
5
and listen,
Tactics. We've
all of
done-
them just showed up, and between being in the Microsoft Store, if you have Game Pass, you get some of the DLC and stuff included in there. That could be a dope little partnership to be able to get 6 out there and do some of that same stuff with it. Because outside of that, I'm trying to think of another title that's we haven't heard from in a while, like a Japanese company.
I tell you what, it would be for me would be if it's something they haven't already announced. It would be like Ninja Gaiden, which was an exclusive Xbox joint when it first came out. When they started redoing them, they did do a collection, not that like a remastered collection, not too long ago. All of them are available on Game Pass, but it also could just be something that technically already existed. Like I think they're saying it's something brand new. From some people, hold on. Let me go back and just read. I don't think they said it in the actual press release.
Mhm.
I mean, what would you want to see? Is that what you would want to see? Is Persona?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think it just makes a little. It makes sense to me. Just like Joe said, with them bringing over 3, 4, and 5 over to the like Game Pass and stuff like that, and pushing them. Like I was just stating, Persona 5 has been out for some years now. You know what I mean? To have the branch off games from it. Like I said, you have the regular one, you have Royal, you have the Dynasty Warriors Joan, you have the Tactics one, I think it's a dance one. Like there's so many different ones. They've run through like that whole gamut of doing those type of games based around 5, and it's been years. So it's time for 6. So
I mean, the only reason why I'm a little hesitant on that is because Metaphor is still so new. And I think it's the same team. Like I know it's the same developer.
Right.
I think it's the same team. And so I don't know how big that team is. Could they have been developing Persona 6 while they also were doing Metaphor? It's possible.
It's possible, but that's kind of.
But that's the thing that makes me think it might not be. Right. And they've had Xbox has had some decent reveals. Like they did the Metal Gear Solid 3 joint that was on there. And but that's the only thing that gives me pause about it being Persona.
I can see that.
Cool.
I can see that.
Only other thing I can think about that I know, like I know they've been talking about a Final Fantasy 9 remake, but I know
Yeah.
that was like a small type
Yeah, I've
of
heard
thing
of
that like
9. I've heard of 8 remake.
it showed up once and then like it kind of just fizzled away. Like I don't think we would do like as much as I would love to have a Final Fantasy 10 upgrade and bring it to. I didn't bought that on everything. Y'all know how I am about Final Fantasy 10, but for me to be able to go back and probably play 9 and being able to like upres it, kind of like how we talked about Persona 3 and bringing
Mhm.
that over and giving that its upgrade, that could be an interesting thing if they went that route.
I mean, K Dizzle said Perfect Dark, and I think again, like the mystery thing supposedly is coming from a Japanese studio, or is a like a legend, like a Japanese title that people know they haven't seen in a while. We got a Perfect Dark. That last Perfect Dark update kind of just put me in a place where I don't think we see anything else in Perfect Dark until probably spring at the earliest, but more than likely
Yeah.
summertime.
E3 time, whatever that
What
is. Yeah.
E3, I think, is the next time we see anything from Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
I think right now what their focus is going to be on is all the stuff that they are front loaded with. So I think that, yeah, they're going to do this, but I think that like what we're going to be seeing coming up is going to be like Avowed. I do think we'll see Fable again because those are the things that are closest, right? Like, so I think we'll see those things
Hopefully,
and get like deeper dives into those things. South of Midnight is coming very soon. So again, we're getting a dive into that here. I'm pretty sure what we're going to get is a good dive into it and then an actual release date. The Expedition 33 is coming from a I don't want to call them unknown, but like we don't really get to see much from them. I think if you're focusing on Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages, and South of Midnight, I don't think you're going to feed Perfect Dark into that. I think that's going to have to wait. I also think that there are some things that they might show that they're going to wait until April because they're going to be aligning themselves with Nintendo. So I think there are some things that we're going to find out are coming. Like we still have to get through the release of Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5. So again, I just think that, and again, right now, Microsoft is still in a place where everything they say that looks like, seems like, or feels like it even could be exclusive, everything is mired in, yeah, but when's it coming to PlayStation? Or how soon before? Why are you making us wait, until whatever? I would say that what happened with Indiana Jones is evidence enough that it, with the kudos and the love that game has gotten and is getting, that if it had also dropped on PlayStation, it would have been much higher on probably a lot more people's Game of the Year lists and so forth. But because they decided to hold off, that's actually probably cost them some, though it does give them the opportunity to kind of breathe new life into it. And at least it is also already on PC. But I think, again, they're kind of still testing those things and trying those things out. And I think that what they're looking to do is just see what they can make happen on a new platform like Nintendo and see how being there day one at launch with Diablo 4, right? With all of the DLC and so forth being sold directly on Switch, how does that do? How does that work out? How does their online work? Whatever. Like, I think that's a big deal. And what those numbers look like they're going to be looking very heavily at that kind of stuff and seeing how that affects their bottom line when they are pushing and promoting things on another platform that is as powerful as that one is. I also think, to kind of backtrack a little bit, I think that the new Mario Kart is going to be Smash Brothers. Like, I think it's going to be, they're going to invite everybody in. And I think we're going to see Xbox characters. I think we're going to see, like, the same way Smash Brothers is, and they're pulling in characters from other places. I think that they are going to do the exact same thing. That there is an expectation that whatever this new version of Mario Kart is going to be has to be able to live up to what 8 did. But that also means it kind of has to live up to what Smash did. And so, yes, Smash Brothers also needs to play on this.
Facts.
But I think having a Mario Kart that has racers that come from all these other places and maps that come from all these other places, I also think that they're probably going to make it so that you can make your own courses. I think that there's going to be a need and a want to push an online community that lives and exists around that kind of thing, There's constantly content that's going to it and updating, and people who are in there, and they don't really have to worry about taking their developers and keeping them on pushing that new kind of stuff. Cuddy said that classic punch sound from the Indiana Jones movie so satisfying in the game. Also likely last work of Tony Todd. You're very right. You're very right. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Where we are in gaming and what's happening with gaming is almost as interesting as what's happening. It is as or more interesting as what's happening within the MCU right now, and what's happening with. There was another rumor about a new Storm, somebody else for Storm, who I don't know who she is, but she ain't Cynthia Erivo, so right now I'm hating.
Right.
You know, it's a really strange landscape. You know what I mean? To kind of be in and be trying to figure out how it should all work as they're just continuing to do new stuff and put out new stuff and what have you. All right, a couple things we have to get to. Loading Snacks Movie Club. Ooh, let's talk about that.
Y'all some trash. I want to let y'all know it right now.
You know, look, I don't know if I'd go that far. The list is, you know, the list is filled with a lot of older movies. That is because only a few people bothered to actually exercise their ability to make suggestions and put stuff on the list. We had 41 movies, which is a lot to choose from when you're only doing 12. But let me just tell you about the frustration that exists with streaming services for me right now. Bro, I spent days, one by one, going through these movies on this list to just see if and it would have been so much easier if people just actually did what I put when I wrote.
Right.
I literally
followed the directions.
Hey, try to make sure that what you pick is on streaming services. We try to keep it that way so it's easier for everybody.
Yeah.
And people are just like, y'all should watch this and watch this and watch this and watch this. And you should watch this and watch this. You watch it. Go find out where you can watch it. Because guess what?
Right. You can't.
Bruh. I want you to know, dog, that I'm not going to pretend that I wasn't happy some of these joints wasn't.
Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck.
But dog, the current state of streaming. Thanks, Candace, for checking because your stuff was available. The current state of streaming, which by the way, they didn't announce it, but Netflix did their earnings call, and buried at the very, 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 very bottom was a new price hike.
Yep.
Okay.
So $25 a month now for Netflix. Oh, matter of fact, Microsoft did the same thing to me. I just tapped on OneDrive, and they were like,
"Oh yeah, I did get that too."
It's going up from $6.99 to $9.99. Get with it. Welcome to 2025. Trying to kill us. So let me go back to this list and just kind of run through how this did shake out. I'm gonna update the actual group chat on Facebook with where we are with what movies for what month and so forth. But again, this month's movie is Machete. Cuddy said, "Be you too nice. Make them do the homework and vow submission if they don't provide where you can see it." Listen, hey, Cuddy, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because you're not. However, when I deal with the admins, when I talk the jokes and sin, that's exactly what I do. Hey, dog, this brand ain't on stream and get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I'll be like, "What are your movies or whatever?" And they'll pick something. I'll be like, "And what is it on?" I don't even listen no more. Like, that's a real thing. Like, we do that. But the decision to do it this way was kind of last minute. I was like, let's take it and I'll sort it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we know.
Right?
Touch the community. Yeah.
So Machete on Disney Plus via Hulu, or I guess if you just have Hulu somehow.
It's just right there.
So the second movie in the list was It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Available nowhere.
I was about to say that.
So I need to kind of explain how this ended up working. So once the list was randomized, we took the first 12. That's your January through December. As I went through the list, so Mad World wasn't available. So what I did was I went to number 13 and I checked that to see if it's available. And if it was, then that moves into that slot. If it's not, then I move on to 14 and so on, right? So that's how this worked out. And I got like halfway through the list, to be honest with you. So It's a Mad World was not available. Neither was Enter the Dragon, which was number 13. And neither was The Dark Knight, which was number 14.
Your favorite.
Now we have to take a break. Oh, do we need to discuss?
Damn, my man ain't waiting no time.
Let me tell you something. So, again, I hate streaming services right now. The Dark Knight was my suggestion. And I just figured it got to be. But you know why? Because Warner Brothers owns that.
Mm-hmm.
HBO Max. Max is a thing. That's Warner Brothers. Let me tell you what's crazy. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises are both available on Max. It's only The Dark Knight that is not available.
He's Legend. Yeah, the Joker. The biggest one.
It was on Prime.
Everything was on Netflix. So they were all on. I had to stop, do some research, figure some things out. They were all on HBO Max. In 2023, they took them all off, did a deal with Netflix, put them all on Netflix. Now, none of them are on Netflix. And only those two movies are available on Max. It might be the dumbest thing I have ever seen. But that's where we are. So The January Man is available on Amazon Prime. That's our February movie. Transcendence, not available anywhere. Some Like It Hot became our next film. So that's our March movie. Final Girls, not available on anything. So Wolf of Wall Street, which is available on Paramount Plus, that's our April movie. Chomps,
not available anywhere.
Not available anywhere. Waterworld, available on Netflix. Available on Netflix. That's our May movie. Forgotten was our original June movie. So on Netflix, no problem. Face Off, our July movie. Paramount Plus, no problem. Upgrade, Netflix, no problem. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, available on Max, not a problem. The Man from Nowhere, available on Prime. MASH, the movie, available nowhere. TV show is available.
I was going to ask, was that based off the show? But okay, answer that question.
The movie came before the show.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it was a movie and then the show. But
I just know that's when it's time to go to sleep when that comes on.
Hey, bro.
And I love that show. I love that show.
Nick with the Nick
You're right.
That don't match. I was like, oh, Cartoon Network.
Nah, he ain't talking about Nick at Night jokes. He older than you. He talking about Fox 5, bro. He ain't talking about Nick.
Yeah. He know what I was talking about.
Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what, Kev? It wasn't cool.
Say
I'm
that
gonna
again.
let you go to the chat and see who did that. I'm gonna let you go to the chat and see who did that. Okay. So MASH not available. Miami Connection is available.
But
Here's the thing.
there's a but.
Who punished in the club with Waterworld?
Well,
no, MASH was not Frosty.
No, but try again.
MASH was that came from the actual chat group. That wasn't from that came from the group. That didn't come from like our personal admin chat. Waterworld was in our admin chat. I'm gonna let you go figure that out. Miami Connection. Here's the thing. It is available on Prime, but it is ads only. You can watch it. But you have to watch it with ads. Number 12, our December choice was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Donald Sutherland, 1978. Available nowhere.
That was it.
So that got replaced with Interstellar, which is currently available on Netflix.
That's a good way.
So I'm going to run through the list one more time. Right now, January through December, Machete, The January Man, Some Like It Hot, Wolf of Wall Street, Waterworld, Forgotten, Face Off, Upgrade, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, The Man from Nowhere, Miami Connection, and Interstellar. Now, I am going to post this along with everywhere that these films are currently available to watch. But there is always the caveat that 6 months from now, what's available will be totally different.
Yeah.
But we will work the same process because there are still like another 20 plus films that are in the list.
Yep.
And so the next movie on the list will be Batteries Not Included, then Labyrinth, then Bright, then The Thin Man, then Inglourious Basterds, then RoboCop, and we'll just go down the list. If we come across something that when it's time to do that movie, it is no longer available, we will go back to the list and we'll keep moving through the list until we find something that's available, and we'll make those adjustments as necessary. So the list could change multiple times. Again, it happened to us last year. Sorry, Kay. That's, when we put them up, I think your joints ended up. So Inglourious Basterds was one of yours. I don't remember what your other one.
Enter the Dragon. Enter the Dragon was one of his.
Enter the Dragon, yeah. Enter the Dragon wasn't available. It's not on anything.
Unless you should
have did your Googles.
That's on you. I'm pretty sure Inglourious Basterds is available. It's just a matter of whether or not it ends up being that we get to it because of where it is in the list. It ended up being like, I think like almost 30 on the list or something like that. Cuddy said Klinger was my guy. Man wearing a dress screaming to get kicked out of the army. Great show. And we were so young. I had no clue about the services. Understood. Real talk. And as a person who went into the services yourself, which again, thank you. Totally get it. Yeah. I like Radar. That was my guy. Klinger was funny. My man just wanted to get out so bad. He was willing to do whatever to try to get low. Radar was my guy. Because he just was like, just trying to survive, dog. Just trying to make it. Just try and make it. That's a great show. So that's where we are. That's what the list is. Again, I'll publish that this evening to the actual Loading Stacks Movie Club chat so that everybody can see where we are currently. And again, I'll just explain the caveats because that's how it works. Jokes. I feel like it's about time to wrap the show up. What's happening in wrestling that isn't all of Japan uniting into one giant wrestling conglomerate that's going to fight the entire WWE? Like
we shall see. But next week is one of WWE's biggest premium live events of the year in the form of the Royal Rumble. So I feel like we're gonna do predictions, but I feel like we're gonna do them a little bit differently comparison to like a normal match for match type of thing, because obviously the Rumble create some things where you don't necessarily always know who's in the match. So I think we're going to do something a little bit different for some Royal Rumble predictions. But that'll be the biggest thing that we coming up next week.
Don't forget about Saturday. Saturday night main event this Saturday.
It's okay, but it ain't the Royal Rumble though.
No, it's not the Royal Rumble. I'm just saying that something
Royal Rumble
big is happening this week.
Saturday night's main event is going to happen. I do give them props because I thought they were going to end up making that like a one and done type of thing like they have done in the past. But it seems as though they have fully embraced bringing back Saturday night main events, and at least it's going to be done like once a quarter. It seems like. So it seems like they are going to lean back into the Saturday night main event show. So cool little addition.
Saturday Night Slam Masters. Let's get it.
Classic.
Nothing about that.
Classic.
Sam, what's going on with Anime Chat?
As y'all know, we'll be back with Higurashi When They Cry on Thursday for Thriller Park. But other than that, the Anime Chat podcast, news was pretty interesting this week. Y'all might get a kick out of that like we did with some of those topics. Noah wasn't able to join us last week for Thriller Park, but me and Gabby did dive into how the last arc ended, how we felt about that, and how the new arc is at least starting, since they go, like I explained last week, like from these 4 episode kind of like chapters. So we do break that down, our thoughts on that. And the biggest thing we discussed this week, as far as our topic, was Death Note and whether Light was good, bad, hero, villain type of discussion. So overall, good discussions we had, a lot of fun. So check out for that Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. We'll post that for everybody.
Speaking of Thursday, 2 things happening Thursday. Again, Microsoft has their first direct, and then we start MagFest. So MagFest is Thursday through Sunday. So if you're going to be at MagFest, like Heather will be, make sure you say hi. Looking forward to seeing you, Heather, when we get there. Still working out the stuff with the escape room, Heather, if you want to try to do that. Like, we're going to see if we can't just get some other people together too, and just, see if we can't make that happen. We'll discuss maybe even on site on Thursday. The 3 of us are going to watch the Xbox Direct at MagFest, and then record and post a reaction to it. Might do some portion of that live directly from MagFest, but we'll be kind of giving our 3 cents on whatever it is that they say and whatever the mystery reveal is and so forth. We'll do that on Saturday. That's not happening until 1 o'clock our time. So somewhere in the like 2 to 3 o'clock range, we'll be shooting it and uploading it so that you guys can see where we are on that. You'll see some coverage shooting out from us over the weekend from MagFest as we kind of move and shake through the space. MagFest is a all day, all night thing. Again, there's stuff like BlurCon has like 2 events. One starts at like 1 a.m. and one starts at midnight.
Yeah, I think it's one Friday, one Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, that they got. Yeah.
Yeah. So, when you get stuff from MagFest, it's going to be
so sporadic.
But yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be, but yeah, so that's what's happening. And of course, we'll do a recap and kind of talk about things when we get back together next week. You do have an additional week to watch Machete. We were having that discussion on the 27th, so that's 2 Mondays from now. At 8 o'clock, we'll have our discussion on that movie. I think that's it. Working on a few things, Spoiler Boys wise, trying to figure out what, if and how we may do a Spoiler Boys on Skeleton Crew, Creature Commandos, as well as some other things that are upcoming. Looking at prepping some stuff for Captain America Brave New World. Make sure you get your popcorn buckets. Yeah. I think we're good, Jokes, right?
Sounds like good to me.
So here's the thing. It's a new year, and I was told we got to change it up, so we can't use the same thing to close the show anymore.
We'll figure something out.
No, I haven't. I mean,
he has it already. Can't tell.
So Just to keep it short and sweet, live your bloopers, fix it in post. We're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.